When I was 20 years old, I had what you would call a religious experience. Um, at the time, I thought it was an experience that they talk about in the Bible of being born again. What happened was I was in the Navy at the time and I was home on leave, and there was this girl that I was really into from high school who kept dogging me and dogging me. And this time it was going to be different. I came home from the Navy. I was on leave. It was Christmas, and we had been talking here and there. And she was like, "Yeah, I want to see you. I can't wait to see you." I was so excited. This was, the girl in high school that I always wanted. And on the night that we were supposed to get together, nothing. In fact, she was out with another dude. And I remember as a 19-year-old kid laying on the floor at my mom's house and crying myself to sleep. I had met a guy in boot camp, not in boot camp, but in the first phase of training in the Navy, who was a Christian. It's the first guy I'd ever really met or that I had made friends with who was a Christian. His dad was a pastor, and he told me all about the Bible and Jesus. And man, I was so desperate and so sad and so hurting. I remember for the first time in my life, I prayed. I was crying and I just said, "Please help me. I can't do this anymore." Right. And then the next morning I woke up and I swear to God, it was like the clouds parted and all of a sudden a new day had dawned. I don't know where this feeling came from, but for the first time in my life, God's honest truth, first time in my life, I felt a sense of peace. It's something that you'd only be able to attribute to. At the time, it was miraculous. And so for the next several years, I became quite an evangelist for this religion. I became one of those annoying but well-intentioned people who would always tell you about Jesus and carried around a Bible, literally carried it around all the time. And all of my conversations would be sprinkled with Bible quotes, which was, of course, endlessly entertaining and or annoying, depending on who you were when I was talking to you. And then during that time, I learned something that I forgot when I went away from that path, and I recently remembered it, and it triggered this aha, kind of like that morning when I woke up and the clouds parted and life was beautiful again. This aha about how to make life joyful. Probably like you, my experience in life has been that it can be challenging at times, and sometimes it can be very painful. And sometimes we can look at the path in front of us and not be real sure of which way to go. Sometimes we can get really far off the path and be confused and in despair or even depression or anguish even. And in those particular times in my own life, I was always looking for, where is the center? Where is the thing that I can come back to that is always true? Do you know what I'm saying? You know that feeling of like, dude, there's got to be something that I can hold on to, something that tethers me to this life. And I realized that something that I read in that good old Bible, something that guy Jesus said, held a clue. Here's what he said. Here's what he said. He said, "The Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many." And man, I tell you, just like that, I realized, what is the ultimate source of joy in this life? Well, look, our lives are surrounded by people, and the ultimate goal, the ultimate end of anything we do is for another person. Now, yes, everything we do is for ourselves, but if it was only for ourselves, there'd be no need for anybody else. And it would be a very, it would be a very solitary existence. And that's not the world we live in. And so in the context of real life, we think, all right, well, how do we live a life that can continuously be joyful and not be burnt out. Here's my experience. Uh, I made $750,000 in the first year of my first business, and I thought I was hot shit. I was driving a Porsche. I was driving, a $3,000 suits. I'm living down at the ocean front. I am the man, right? Strangely, I didn't feel awesome. Now, I acted like I felt awesome because that's what you're supposed to do. But man, I didn't, and I couldn't figure out why. And it wasn't until I remembered this old quote from the good old LJ that it gave me a clue. And so I'd like to offer this to you, because if you think back to your own life, over your own life, and even in your life right now, when are the times that you feel the most joy? I'm going to say that it's probably got something to do with somebody else. Now, this doesn't mean that we go around being a people pleaser. This doesn't mean that we are sacrificing our lives. We're not martyrs like Jesus was. Not like that. Instead, it's the exact opposite, that we get fuel. There's some people that reach out when I record a video. There's people that when you do whatever you do, it means something to them. And when you think about it, doesn't that feel good? It does. So here's the ancient secret to everlasting joy, to never-ending joy, is how can I serve other people? More specifically, to be more helpful, who specifically would I like to serve? And how can I most effectively serve them? What can I do that is in line with who I am, that it uses my gifts and talents? Because isn't that so great? We love using our skills and talents. Who can I help? Who can I serve? And I'll tell you, man, if you have a foundation of love and appreciation and acceptance for yourself, I'm going to do another video. Thank you to Dan Mailer for pointing out that the video that I did the other day the audio was terrible. I'm going to redo this video. If you have a solid foundation of accepting yourself, then the source of joy that is never ending, because there's always people to serve, is being able to serve others. Who can you serve, and how can you do that? And if you do that, if you make that part of the matrix of your decision making, I'm going to go out on the old limb and say that it's going to pay dividends for you in spades. So that is the secret to everlasting joy. And I'd be keen to hear your experience. Have you ever felt that? And how could you feel it more often?